I don't know that Islam should fight him first. For Makhachev, he goes and beats Ilia Topuria, right? People will say he beat Volk, he beat Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, Renato Moicano. Seems pretty good. That's 5 title fight wins. But in that, it would say, well, he's defended the belt 3 times against featherweights. Because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter what you do or in high regard you hold someone. The fact that he was the champion in a lower weight class is what's going to be pointed to the moment Islam beats him.
Islam Makhachev doesn't want to fight another featherweight, but hard to ignore him. The lightweight division is stacked with killers right now. Islam Makhachev sits on top as champion, but several fighters believe they deserve the next shot. Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, and now Ilia Topuria are all in the mix. Let's break down why this decision is giving the UFC matchmakers such a headache.
Any of those guys, Arman, Charles, Justin, sure, they'd all be phenomenal fights, and they'd all have a realistic chance of potentially beating Ilia Topuria. Granted, Ilia is special. I'm not saying that he's not. But if he lost to them, there's a massive market opportunity lost there.
The UFC's lightweight division is in a traffic jam right now. 4 top guys all think they should fight Islam next. Arman Tsarukyan just beat Charles Oliveira, which normally means you get a title shot. But the UFC seems hesitant to make that fight again since Islam already beat Arman once before. Justin Gaethje is another option.
Realistically, there's a ton of options for Ilia Topuria, but the reality is Islam Makhachev has got to fight somebody soon, and so does Ilia Topuria. Justin Gaethje wants to fight for the belt, but Justin Gaethje really doesn't give a shit right now.
Charles Oliveira is the former champ who never got his rematch. Many fans think he deserves another shot after bouncing back from his loss to Islam. Then there's Ilia Topuria, the featherweight champion who just gave up his belt to move up and challenge Islam directly. He's never lost a fight and just knocked out Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, 2 of the greatest featherweights ever. Michael Bisping thinks Islam versus Ilia is the fight to make. On his YouTube channel, Bisping said, realistically, any of those guys, Islam, Arman, Charles, Justin, they'd all be great fights. But if you ask me to bet, I think Islam versus Ilia Topuria is next. Bisping worries that if Topuria fights someone else first and loses, the UFC would miss out on a massive opportunity.
Ilia is special. I'm not saying that he's not. But if he lost to them, there's a massive market opportunity lost there, because Ilia versus Islam, Ilia with the rise, Ilia still being in a lot of people's minds the featherweight champion against the lightweight champion, there's something there. And yeah, if he loses to Gaethje but then 2-3 fights later gets a shot, it's not quite the same sell. The public wouldn't be quite as still invested. So I think they're going to give him the title fight. I think Islam's going to take.
Daniel Cormier has a simple plan to fix the lightweight mess. The UFC Hall of Famer said,
Here's what I would suggest, and I'm not a matchmaker. Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Yes, book it. Gaethje versus Tsarukyan. Book it. Whoever wins, fights Makhachev. That's it right there. That's it. Topuria gets the shot. Tsarukyan, Gaethje, winner gets the title fight.
DC didn't stop there. Oliveira, go to New Orleans, fight Dustin Poirier. If you win again, you're next after that guy. There it is. That's it. This clean solution would give everyone clear paths forward and solve the division's traffic jam. Beneil Dariush is surprisingly on Team Topuria for the next title shot.
You know, you can't really disagree with it, because he became champion, he defended his belt, and he's just like, hey, I'm too big. I don't want to make this weight cut anymore, so I want to fight 55. I wouldn't be against him fighting for 155, especially since the UFC said they're not going to allow Arman to have his fight again for the title. So
he said Dariush acknowledged Charles Oliveira should be the top contender, but I would say Ilia's credentials are better at this moment. He's riding quite the win streak. About Islam's reluctance to fight another featherweight, Dariush made an important point. The difference now is Ilia is moving up, and he's an actual 155. He's not going back down to 145. All it requires is for Makhachev to agree. Size is the big question in this potential matchup. Dustin Poirier, who knows the lightweight division better than most, said, I've never seen him in person, but everybody says he's heavy, he walks around heavy, but if he can make 145, I don't know how big he is, because some of these lightweights are huge. Tim Welch believes the size difference would be too much.
Ilia versus Islam. Islam Makhachev, he's probably going to walk in the cage. I think he was around 180, 181. Ilia Topuria has never thrown a kick above the waist. Ever in his UFC career. He's got this wide boxing stance. Obviously, there's a puncher's chance, but as soon as Islam grabs a hold of him, I think it's going to be over. You're fighting someone who's an orthodox boxer. It's not that hard to time a shot to the legs, and I'm sure Ilia is a really good grappler, really good black belt, but I think Islam's just going to be too strong, too powerful, and it's going to submit.
Michael Chandler agrees. If that fight goes anything past 15 minutes, I think Islam beats him handedly just because Islam is a large 155, and I don't think Ilia is that big. Some fighters are backing Topuria to shock the world. Joshua Van said Islam is hard to beat, but I'll go with Ilia just because he's a striker like myself. Eddie Cha, Henry Cejudo's coach, is all in on Topuria.
People probably think I'm crazy, but I think Ilia can get it done.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite guys to watch right now. His distance game. I mean, if you've seen him when he was like 6 or 7-0 at Brave before the UFC, he would just take guys down and just grapple. You know, I think that was his biggest strength. That's why I'm so impressed with that guy, because for him to be as good in striking in a short amount of time, understanding the game and how he runs his offense, it's phenomenal.
He was especially impressed with Topuria's evolution. If you've seen him when he was 6 or 7 and 0 at Brave before the UFC, he would just take guys down and grapple. For him to be as good at striking in a short amount of time is phenomenal. Austin Vanderford believes in Topuria's power. I'm gonna go on a limb and say Ilia in that one. It just takes one for Ilia. The Makhachev supporters are equally confident. Curtis Blades said,
Islam takes him down. It won't be easy to get the takedown, but he will be constantly looking for takedowns. Once he gets it, he'll probably just squeeze them and smush them, and it could be a decision victory.
Elijah Smith points to experience against wrestlers. None of the last few opponents that Ilia has fought have wrestled him. When we're talking about the wrestling pedigree between Bryce Mitchell and Makhachev, I think it's a totally different game. Smith added, I think maybe Ilia goes into the fight and he hasn't felt that type of pressure, that type of strength and condition on him. Max Holloway and Volkanovski, they didn't try to go for a takedown. They were scared of his jiu-jitsu, but Islam isn't scared of anybody's jiu-jitsu. Chael Sonnen has a different take. He thinks Topuria needs to earn his shot first. Charles and Tsarukyan are in a battle, and the battle is for Ilia. Charles is not likely to go right into a title fight against Islam. Islam wants some fresh blood, but Ilia is not going to get a title shot. Sonnen believes the fight makes more sense after Topuria beats a top lightweight. Ilia versus Islam right now works, but it's not a massive fight. However, Ilia versus Islam, if Ilia defeats Charles first, is a complete other conversation. Who do you think deserves the next shot at Islam's lightweight belt? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more UFC content. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and share this video with your MMA friends.